seizure that you are visualizing through muscle artifact. I'll move on to the next page, and you see the same thing here. The seizure is underlying this muscle activity, and I'll use some filters to clear it up in just a few seconds. And this seizure continues all the way down, and you see way more muscle activity. So the seizure, the clinical seizure, is also evolving, as is the electrographic seizure. Okay, now going back here, what you can do here to get a better picture of this whole seizure is change the time base. So from 30 millimeters per second, you can go to 15 millimeters per second, and then cut down the gain. Cut down the gain means change the amplitude, reduce the amplitude. What you see here, this in itself is an electrographic seizure that has started right here. There is a change in, there is an evolution in amplitude. So the amplitude, that is the vertical length of this waveform, is much higher than the vertical length of this waveform. So the amplitude is changing in these 8 to 10 seconds. The frequency is also changing. So you have two big waves in this 1 second, whereas you have three of these waves in this 1 second. So there is a change, there is a sudden onset, there is an abrupt onset of the change in the EEG, with change in frequency and a change in amplitude. So this qualifies for an electrographic seizure, and since it's coming from the area that is represented by electrodes with an odd number in front of those, so this is a left temporal seizure. You should also keep an eye on the heart rate. The heart rate was 60 or 62 beats per minute. It continues to be pretty much the same heart rate. And here you're seeing a lot of muscle artifact. And how do you get rid of the muscle artifact? So what I would suggest you try is go and change the high frequency filter to 15 hertz. And what it does is it gets rid of a lot of fast frequencies, and you can see the evolution of the seizure more clearly. Now you recall that we just compressed the EEG, so if I go back to the original settings of 30 millimeters per second and increase the gain, you can see the seizure very clearly over here. You're not seeing any of the muscle activity. The other thing to note is at the onset, the heart rate was 60 beats per minute. Now it has gone up to 80 beats per minute. So with seizures comes increase in muscle activity, and that is physical activity leading to an increase in heart rate. There is also a sympathetic drive during the seizures, which can also account for the increased heart rate. And the seizure, you can see, is evolving in the amplitude, and basically now it has involved the other hemisphere as well. I will cut down the gain a bit, and you can see the seizure all the way.